They told him it was a cleanup operation. A classified strike. A threat that needed to disappear. But when the target appeared, it wasn't an enemy. It was a child. On a sealed city on Mars. One order will be questioned. One law will be broken. And one life may decide the future of humanity. This is not a story about heroes. It's a story about what happens when survival becomes policy, and someone chooses to disobey. The air inside Redhaven Enclave never truly rested. It pressed back, reminding everyone that survival here was borrowed, not owned. Cale Rourke checked the seal on his helmet and watched the pressure gauge steady. Green held. That was enough. Beyond the viewport, Mars glowed dim and unforgiving. The city clung to the rock like a scar that refused to heal. Redhaven was built for endurance, not comfort. Every corridor, every breath, was measured and rationed. A soft chime pulsed in Cale's ear. Mission channel opened. Status. A calm voice said. Colonel Garrick Holt did not waste words. Cale adjusted his rifle and ran a hand across the heatsink. Low thermal output, no signature bleed. Operational, Cale replied. Holt's image flickered onto the display. Uniform pristine, expression unreadable. Target confirmed, Holt said. Lower Conduit District, non-compliant cluster. Cale said nothing. Silence was expected. Holt continued, voice even. Classification remains unchanged, alien concentration. Cale glanced at the mission overlay. A dense web of tunnels bloomed beneath the city. Lower Conduit District sat below the filtration stacks. It was where waste heat went to die. Rules of engagement? Cale asked. Holt did not hesitate. Containment Directive 17. That was answer enough. No extraction, no witnesses. This is not a negotiation, Holt added. It is strategic sanitation. The phrase landed cold. Sanitation meant removal, permanent removal. Cale secured the rifle to his shoulder mount. The weapon hummed, barely audible. I'm moving, Cale said. As you were trained, Holt replied. The channel closed. Minutes later, Cale entered the descent shaft. Gravity shifted, subtle but constant. Lights dimmed as he passed through security layers. Each gate recognized him without question. The Mars Provisional Authority trusted its tools. Cale had been one of them for years. As he moved, Redhaven spoke in quiet warnings. Airflow changed, temperature dropped. He adjusted his pace to match the system rhythm. Fast enough to arrive, slow enough to avoid alarms. The rifle's interface pulsed against his palm. No heat spikes, no acoustic trace. This was routine. That thought should have brought comfort. Instead, something felt misaligned. The data was too clean. By the time Cale reached the outer access ring, his jaw tightened. Too many redactions, too many blanks. He paused at the hatch leading deeper down. Below lay the lower Conduit District. Old maintenance corridors stretched beyond the seal. Forgotten by planners, remembered by the desperate. Cale keyed the manual override and slipped through. The hatch sealed behind him with a muted thud. The air grew warmer here. Thicker, carrying recycled breath. He advanced with measured steps, scanning corners. No movement, no hostile signatures. This was supposed to be an alien nest. It felt like a shelter. Cale slowed. That hesitation was new. Hours earlier, this mission had been just another mark. Now, doubt crept in without permission. He opened a secondary channel and reviewed the briefing again. The words remained unchanged. Alien concentration. Strategic sanitation. Cale exhaled and moved forward. Orders did not require belief, only execution. Above him, Redhaven continued to breathe. Below, something waited. The city's lights dimmed as night cycles began. Far above, Mars turned, indifferent. Cale stepped deeper into the conduits. The mission clock ticked on. And for the first time in years, he wondered what, exactly, he had been sent to erase. The conduits narrowed as Cale moved deeper. Metal ribs curved overhead, sweating recycled heat. His boots touched down without sound. Magnetic dampeners absorbed the impact. Airflow thinned with every step. His suit compensated, feeding measured oxygen. Dim service lights flickered along the walls. Most had been offline for years. Lower Conduit District was not abandoned. It was simply ignored. Kale paused beside a filtration hub. The hum was uneven, patched by hand. Someone lived here. Someone maintained this place. He advanced through a maintenance hatch. The space beyond opened into a wide service tunnel. Pipes ran like arteries along the ceiling. Condensation dripped in slow, steady beats. His scanner swept the area. No foreign biochemistry registered. No anomalous heat signatures appeared. No signs of non-human physiology. That should not have been possible. The briefing had been explicit. Kale lowered his rifle slightly. He listened. Voices echoed faintly ahead. Human voices, tired, controlled. He shifted position and edged closer. The tunnel curved into a repurposed chamber. What he saw slowed his breath. Makeshift walls, medical curtains, power cables. A small clinic filled the space. Clean, but improvised. Old cargo crates served as tables. Lighting rigs were wired from scrap. A man in civilian gear stood guard. His hands shook around a stun baton. Another figure moved behind a curtain. Soft instructions, calm reassurance. Kale froze. This was not an alien enclave. His visor highlighted equipment. Portable scanners, infusion pumps. All human design. All legal components, repurposed. The guard spotted Kale and raised his weapon. Fear crossed his face, not aggression. Please, the man said. We're not armed. Kale did not respond. He adjusted his stance instead. Movement erupted from the left. 2 more civilians rushed the corridor. They carried shock sticks and shields. Not military grade, defensive. Kale stepped back as one lunged. He redirected the strike and disarmed him. Another swung wide. Kale dropped low and swept his legs. Both fell hard but alive. Kale avoided lethal force by instinct. A warning alarm chirped. Pressure integrity dipped. Kale halted mid-motion. A stray round here would kill everyone. Stand down, Kale said. His voice was level. The civilians hesitated. They saw his restraint. One lowered her shield. Her eyes never left the rifle. We're protecting patients, she said. Not hiding monsters. Patients. The word lingered. Kale scanned the room again. Medical data scrolled across his display. Human vitals. Human genetic markers. No foreign signatures. Nothing alien at all. The curtain shifted. A woman stepped forward in a medic's coat. Her hands were steady. Her eyes were not. You shouldn't be here, she said. But neither should we. Kale felt something tighten in his chest. The mission overlay flickered. He checked the intel feed again. Key sections were blurred. Not redacted. Smoothed. Someone had cleaned the data. Too carefully. Who sent you? The medic asked. Kale did not answer. He could not. Instead, he looked at the equipment. At the patients behind the curtains. Children. Adults. All weak. All human. The rifle felt heavier now. Colder. Kale took a step back. He lowered the muzzle. This was flagged as alien, he said. The medic's jaw set. Then your superiors lied. A distant thud rolled through the conduits. Security units redeploying. Kale's internal clock accelerated. Time was collapsing. He realized the truth too late. This was not an error. It was concealment. Intentional, strategic. Kale turned toward the deeper tunnels. The place the data avoided. Whatever lay ahead was the real target. And it was human. Behind him, the civilians watched in silence. They sensed the shift. Kale moved forward again. Not as an executioner. But as a man who needed answers. Kale followed the deeper tunnel without raising his weapon. The air grew cooler, filtered more carefully. Power lines here were newer. Someone had rerouted energy on purpose. A narrow door stood ahead, sealed with a manual lock. No security tag, no authority mark. Cale tapped twice, then once. The pattern felt instinctive. The door slid open a fraction. Light spilled out, soft and controlled. Inside, the space was smaller than the clinic. Cleaner, quieter. Medical monitors lined one wall. Their glow pulsed in steady rhythms. A child sat on the edge of a narrow bed. Small, wrapped in a thermal blanket. She looked up when Cale entered. Her eyes were alert, not afraid. For a moment, Cale forgot the rifle in his hands. He forgot the mission clock. "Easy," a woman's voice said. "Please don't startle her." The woman stepped forward slowly. Dark hair pulled back, sleeves rolled up. Her coat was stained with antiseptic and dust. Not a uniform, not military. "I'm Dr. Celine Park," she said. "You're early." Cale did not correct her. He studied the child instead. "What's your name?" Cale asked. The girl hesitated, then answered. "Mira." "Mira Vane," Celine added. Her voice tightened slightly. Myra's fingers rested on a sensor pad. Tiny lights danced across her skin. Cale's visor began pulling data automatically. Biochemical streams flooded his display. He frowned. The patterns did not match any alert profile. Celine noticed the change in his posture. "Look closer," she said. Cale adjusted the filter. Genetic markers shifted into focus. He had seen degeneration curves before. They always collapsed. These did not. They stabilized. "That's impossible," Cale said. Celine nodded once. "That's why they want her erased." She tapped the console. Historical data overlaid the present scan. Centuries of failed treatments scrolled past. Every line ended the same way. Myra's line did not. It bent, corrected, held. "She carries a regulatory structure," Celine said. "Epigenetic, not engineered." Cale looked at the child again. She swung her legs slightly. Bored. "She's not a cure," Celine continued. "She's a reference." Cale swallowed. A reference meant replication, risk, control. "If they copy it wrong," Celine said, "they accelerate collapse. They kill millions. And if they control it," Cale said, "they control survival." Celine met his gaze. "That's why this place was flagged as alien." Mira watched them quietly. She sensed the tension without understanding it. Cale's mission overlay pulsed red. Engagement window narrowing. His finger rested near the trigger. Training urged completion. But the numbers would not leave his vision. Stable curves. Sustained function. If he fired, the data ended. So did every chance after. "Why keep her here?" Cale asked. "Because Redhaven would panic," Celine said. "And command would seize her." Mira looked up at Cale again. "Are you going to leave?" she asked. The question landed harder than any order. Cale lowered the rifle completely. "No," he said. "Not yet." A sharp tone cut through his channel. Priority signal forcing connection. Colonel Holt's voice broke in. "Rourke, status." Cale stared at the floor. He made his decision. He reached up and twisted the comm module. Metal snapped, signal died. For half a second, there was silence. Then the city reacted. Red lights ignited along the walls. A low alarm rolled through the conduits. Automated systems spoke in calm repetition. "Alert, red quarantine in effect." Celine exhaled slowly. "They know now." Mira gripped the edge of the bed. The monitors quickened. Cale stepped between the child and the door. His stance changed. Above them, Redhaven sealed itself shut. Below, the countdown had begun. And Cale Rourke understood the cost. He had not refused a mission. He had chosen a side. Heat slammed into Cale as the hatch sealed behind them. The thermal maintenance spine roared like a living furnace. Metal groaned overhead, expanding with trapped energy. Warning lights strobed in dull amber bands. Mira coughed once, then steadied. Kale adjusted her mask without slowing. "Stay close," he said. His voice cut through the noise. Celine followed, carrying a compact case. The nano-vector infusion rig pulsed inside. Air here was thin and bitter. Every breath cost more than the last. Kale felt the suit compensate, then strain. Time mattered now. The spine stretched forward in a long, glowing curve. Heat exchangers lined the walls like ribs. Steam hissed through vent slits. The sound drowned most signals. Behind them, alarms echoed through lower conduit. Red quarantine had teeth. "Pressure is rising," Celine said. Her voice stayed calm. "I know," Kale replied. He checked Myra's pace. She kept moving, jaw set. Too young to understand the stakes. A shadow detached from the heat shimmer ahead. Kale raised his rifle. "Easy," a voice said. Low, controlled. The figure stepped into clearer light. A man, mid-years, eyes sharp. "Evo Dane," he said. "The passage network." Celine stiffened. Kale did not lower the weapon. "You picked a bad corridor," Evo continued. "Security will sweep it soon." "Then move," Kale said. "We're passing through." Evo smiled thinly. "That's not how this works." The spine trembled as vents cycled. Heat surged, then dropped. Mira stumbled. Kale caught her. Evo noticed the child then. His expression shifted. "That explains the lockdown," Evo said. "Colonel Holt doesn't panic without cause." "He's already hunting," Celine said. "Through the whole city." Evo nodded once. "Then you need us." Kale stepped closer. "What's the price?" Evo met his gaze. "Trust." Kale almost laughed. He had been trained to break networks like this. "Conditions," Kale said. "No detours, no data siphons." Evo raised a hand. "Temporary escort, no copies." The spine shuddered again. A distant boom followed. "Decide," Evo said. "Or burn." Kale looked at Mira. Her breathing had quickened. He lowered the rifle. "Lead." They moved fast after that. Evo guided them through a side channel. The heat dropped slightly. The noise shifted pitch. Passage network markers glowed faintly on the walls. Old, carefully hidden. "Why help?" Celine asked. Her grip tightened on the case. "Because Holt controls the exits," Evo said. "And control creates markets." Kale listened without comment. He tracked their turns. Behind them, boots clanged on metal. Security command was close. "Left," Evo said. "Now." Kale pivoted, shielding Mira. A stun burst cracked the air. It struck the wall, not them. Evo cursed softly. They ran again. Heat surged as vents opened. Kale felt sweat pool beneath the suit. The spine punished hesitation. Hours later, the alarms shifted tone. The city was fully sealed. Evo slowed near a junction. His face glistened. "From here," he said. "You belong to us." Kale stopped. He weighed the words. Mira looked up at him. Her eyes searched his face. "We keep moving," Kale said. "That's all." Evo studied him, then nodded. "Fair." They disappeared into a maintenance lift. The spine's roar faded behind them. As the platform descended, Redhaven trembled above. The hunt had only begun. And Kale understood the truth. Trust was now a weapon and a risk. The maintenance lift shuddered as it descended. Far above, Redhaven locked itself down. Public channels flared to life. Emergency tones replaced routine notices. Kale heard Holt before he saw him. The colonel's voice filled every speaker. "Attention residents of Redhaven Enclave," Holt said. "Remain calm. This is a containment action." Screens along the lift walls activated. Holt's image appeared, steady and composed. "There has been a breach of protocol," Holt continued. "A hostile extraction attempt is underway." Kale clenched his jaw. The wording was precise. Former Security Command Operative Kale Rourke, Holt said, has violated Containment Directive 17. Mira stiffened beside him. Celine placed a hand on her shoulder. He is no longer acting under authority, Holt added. He is aiding an alien link network. Evo exhaled slowly. There it is. The lift stopped with a metallic groan. They stepped into a narrow transfer corridor. Overhead lights dimmed to conservation levels. Power was being rerouted elsewhere. On the public feed, Holt continued calmly. Water distribution will be limited until resolution. A murmur rippled through the audio channels. Fear traveled faster than facts. Food shipments are temporarily suspended, Holt said. Compliance ensures safety. Kale pictured the queues forming already. He had seen this tactic before. Why starve them? Celine asked quietly. Evo answered without looking back. Because hunger obeys. Holt's voice did not waver. This individual is armed and dangerous. Kale's profile rotated on the screen. Service record redacted, commendations erased. He has chosen chaos, Holt said. We choose stability. The words were meant to comfort. They did the opposite. In residential blocks, doors sealed. Transit rails powered down. Redhaven's people felt the change in their bones. The city had turned inward. Kale moved faster now. Every step echoed with consequence. You planned this, Celine said. Her voice was tight. Holt seemed to hear her anyway. Our priority is the many, he said. Not one, Holt added. Not sentiment. Evo slowed at a junction and keyed a panel. Passage network access codes blinked green. Holt isn't angry, Evo said. He's calculating. Kale nodded once. That was worse. Behind them, security broadcasts escalated. Words like treason and contamination spread. A child cried somewhere on the channel. The feed cut abruptly. Civil unrest indicators rising, Holt said. Security Command is deploying. Kale imagined armored units fanning out. Checkpoints tightening. Why frame it as alien? Celine asked. Because fear needs a shape, Evo replied. And aliens are convenient. Kale felt the weight settle in his chest. This was no longer about him. Holt's face filled the screen again. Unblinking, certain. Any who assist Rourke, Holt said, will be treated as collaborators. The word collaborator carried history. It carried blood. Mira looked up at Kale. Did you do something bad? She asked. Kale crouched slightly to meet her eyes. I did something hard, he said. The corridor lights flickered. Power strain was spreading. Sector 7 is sealed, Holt announced. Evacuation routes reassigned. Evo cursed under his breath. That cuts our next exit. Holt folded his hands on screen. We will restore order, he said. Kale understood then. Holt was not hunting a man. He was shaping a story. One the city would accept. By dawn, Redhaven would believe it. Fear would do the rest. Kale straightened. His path narrowed, but his resolve did not. Above them, Redhaven held its breath. Below, the hunt tightened its grip. And somewhere in the city's core, Colonel Holt optimized every move. The corridor narrowed into a service bay lined with coolant pipes. The air felt cleaner, but colder. Celine set the case down and opened it carefully. Blue light washed over her hands. Mira sat on a bench, breathing shallow but steady. Her fingers trembled against the metal. Give me a minute, Celine said. Her tone stayed calm on purpose. Kale stood watch at the door. His rifle tracked every sound. Evo tapped a wrist panel and frowned. Security traffic just spiked. Celine did not look up. I need him to hear this, she said. Kale turned slightly. I'm listening. Celine activated the real-time molecular scanner. Streams of data floated between them. This is the epigenetic stabilization matrix, Celine said. It is not a cure. Kale's jaw tightened. It keeps her alive. For now, Celine said. It slows collapse. It does not reverse it. Mira swallowed and looked away. She had heard this before. Celine continued, voice measured. The matrix guides expression, not structure. She adjusted a control. A graph shifted, then steadied. Copied incorrectly, Celine said. It accelerates failure. How fast? Kale asked. Faster than the disease, Celine replied. Sometimes within days. Evo cursed softly. So replication is a gamble. It is worse than that, Celine said. It becomes a weapon. Kale looked at Mira again. The weight returned. Holt knows this, Kale said. Yes, Celine replied. That is why he wants exclusivity. Evo leaned closer. Control the process. Control the flow. Celine nodded. People will migrate for hope. Or riot when denied, Evo added. Either way, power concentrates. Kale exhaled slowly. Holt stabilizes the city by owning survival. Celine met his eyes. He would ration access. Like oxygen, Kale said. Like water. Mira shifted on the bench. Her breathing grew uneven. Celine noticed immediately. Her hand moved fast. Mira, Celine said softly. Look at me. Mira tried to smile. It did not hold. The heat earlier stressed her system, Celine said. The matrix compensated. Kale glanced toward the corridor. Heat warnings echoed faintly. We cannot run like that again, Celine added. Not without consequences. Evo checked his panel again. Bad news. Kale did not ask. He already knew. Our secondary exit just went dark, Evo said. Security rerouted power. Celine swore under her breath. That was rare. Kale tightened his grip. Is there another path? There is, Evo said. But it was never meant for use. Mira gasped suddenly. Her monitor spiked. Celine moved instantly. She steadied the infusion rig. Heart rate climbing, Celine said. Breath shallow. Kale stepped closer. Talk to me. She needs rest, Celine said. And stable temperature. The lights flickered. A distant rumble followed. Ivo's panel chirped sharply. Signal trace. Kale's visor lit with warnings. Their location pulsed red. They found us, Kale said. Evo nodded grimly. Someone sold the corridor map. Celine secured the case. Her hands were steady, but her face was not. Mira, Celine said gently. We have to move again. Mira nodded weakly. I'm trying. Kale lifted her carefully. Her weight felt heavier than before. The door behind them hissed. Locks disengaged somewhere close. Boots rang against metal in the distance. Redhaven Security Command was closing in. Kale turned toward the only remaining passage. It glowed with warning stripes. Evo swallowed. That route was sealed for a reason. Myra's breath hitched. Her eyes fluttered. Celine watched the data stream spike again. Her voice dropped. If we don't stabilize her soon, Celine said, the matrix will fail. Kale looked down at Mira. Then forward, into the unknown corridor. The escape was no longer clean. It was exposed. And Myra's body had begun to count the cost. Silence greeted them inside Station Calder 9. It felt heavier than the alarms they had escaped. The doors sealed with a tired hiss. Old locks accepted Ivo's codes without enthusiasm. Dust floated in the dim lights. The station had been asleep for years. Kale scanned corners and ceiling seams. No movement, no heat spikes. Temporary, Evo said. Nothing here lasts. Celine guided Mira onto a padded bench. The child's breathing sounded thin but steady. Coolant pipes ticked as they cooled. The air smelled faintly metallic. Kale checked the perimeter again. He moved with habit, not fear. A console flickered to life nearby. Emergency power held, barely. Hours later, the city will notice this place, Evo said. For now, we breathe. Mira watched Kale quietly. Her eyes followed his hands. He cleaned his rifle methodically. Each motion precise, practiced. Celine adjusted the infusion rig. Soft tones marked stable readings. Sit still, Celine said. Just a moment. Mira nodded. She did not complain. Kale remained standing. Sleep was not an option. Station Calder 9 whispered with distant vibrations. Pumps cycled somewhere deep below. Ivo leaned against a bulkhead. He checked routes on his panel. Security is spreading outward, Ivo said. They think you're running blind. Kale did not answer. He tightened a strap instead. Mira broke the quiet. Do you always stand like that? Kale looked down. Like what? Ready, she said. As if the room might bite. A faint smile touched Celine's mouth. It faded quickly. Kale shifted his weight. Habit. Mira studied him again. Did you learn it here? No, Kale said. Somewhere colder. The station hummed softly. Time stretched. Celine finished her adjustments. She stepped back. Vitals are holding, Celine said. But she needs rest. Mira swung her feet gently. The motion slowed. Kale watched the doorway. His reflection stared back from the metal. Mira spoke again, voice small. Did you ever hurt someone? The question landed clean. No judgment, no fear. Ivo stopped moving. Celine looked away. Kale's hands paused. The rifle rested across his knees. Yes, Kale said. His voice stayed even. Mira considered that. Did they deserve it? Kale inhaled slowly. The station seemed to listen. I was told they did, he said. That was enough then. Mira frowned. Is it enough now? Kale did not answer right away. He checked the lock again. He remembered faces without names. Orders without context. I don't know, Kale said finally. No one ever asked me that. Mira nodded, as if storing the answer. Okay. Celine watched Kale closely. She said nothing. Minutes passed. The lights dimmed further. As night fell on Redhaven, Ivo said softly. They will rewrite the story. Kale looked toward the ceiling. He could almost hear Holt's voice. Myra's eyelids drooped. The bench cradled her gently. Will they find us? She asked. Her words slurred slightly. Not tonight, Kale said. Rest. She closed her eyes. Her breathing eased. Kale remained where he was. Guarding sleep felt unfamiliar. Celine approached him quietly. You didn't have to answer her. I did, Kale said. For me. A faint tremor passed through the station. Something heavy moved above. Ivo checked his panel again. Drones are repositioning. Kale rose smoothly. His focus snapped back. The calm was thinning. It would not hold. Mira slept on, unaware. Station Calder 9 kept it secret. For now. And Kale understood something new. Silence could ask harder questions than war. The first drone arrived without a warning tone. It came as a pressure change. Kale felt it through the floor. A subtle vibration, then heat. Station Calder 9 answered with a low groan. Old metal reacted slowly. Ivo looked up from his panel. Thermal recon drones, he said. Celine was already moving. She pulled the infusion rig closer to Mira. They scanned for heat signatures. Celine said. Breath, blood flow, machines. Kale stepped toward the access corridor. His rifle stayed low. The lights dimmed again. Power rerouted under stress. A faint hum crept through the walls. It multiplied, then spread. They're mapping us, Ivo said. Holt doesn't rush. Kale nodded once. He doesn't need to. The first drone slid into view. Its shell glowed faintly red. No weapons were visible. That made it worse. Do not fire unless I say, Kale said. Every round risks decompression. Ivo swallowed. Understood. Mira stirred on the bench. Her breathing quickened. Celine adjusted the rig. Stay with me, she whispered. The drone paused near the ceiling. Its sensors flared. Kale moved sideways, slow and controlled. He stayed close to structural ribs. The drone tracked him anyway. It learned fast. A second hum joined the first. Another drone entered from the rear hatch. "We're boxed," Evo said. "Station vents are lighting up." Kale exhaled. "Then we move the box." He fired one precise shot. The round struck a support beam, not the drone. Metal rang sharply. The station shuddered. The drone reacted instantly. It backed off, recalibrating. "That was a warning," Kale said. "For the walls." Celine glanced at him. "You're buying seconds." "That's all we ever get," Kale replied. The drones split positions. One climbed, one descended. Heat levels rose rapidly. Calder 9 protested. Evo keyed a hidden panel. Passage network access codes unlocked old bulkheads. Walls shifted. Hidden corridors revealed themselves. The drones froze for half a second. That was enough. "Move," Kale said. "Now." Celine lifted Mira. Evo led them through the opening. Kale stayed behind. He fired again, careful. The shot grazed a drone's casing. It sparked, not exploded. Alarms screamed suddenly. Pressure dropped a fraction. "That's too close," Celine shouted. "I know," Kale said. "And so do they." The drones adapted. They adjusted heat output, forcing movement. Kale retreated step by step. He felt the station strain. As they ran, Evo spoke quickly. Holt forced our hand. Kale ducked through the passage. "What do you mean?" "These corridors were never meant to be seen," Evo said. "Now they are." Another drone slammed into the bulkhead behind them. The metal warped inward. Mira cried out softly. Celine tightened her hold. "Keep going," Celine said. Her voice shook. They burst into a junction chamber. Old signage flickered weakly. 3 new heat signatures appeared. More drones. "They're hurting us," Evo said. Toward a choke point. Kale scanned the room. Too many angles, too fragile. A voice cut through the noise. "Clear, calm. Stand down," Holt said over the channel. "This does not need to escalate." Kale ignored him. He fired at a coolant line instead. Steam exploded outward. Temperature readings spiked. The drones recoiled instinctively. Their sensors overloaded briefly. "Now," Kale shouted. They sprinted through the steam. Vision dropped to nothing. A hard impact threw Celine sideways. She hit the deck hard. "Mira," Celine shouted. Kale turned back instantly. A drone had separated them. Its chassis blocked the corridor. Heat poured off it. Kale raised his rifle. He hesitated. A shot here could tear the station open. Everyone knew it. Security command boots echoed nearby. Human this time. Evo grabbed Mira and ran. "The next hatch," he yelled. Celine tried to rise. Her leg buckled. Kale made his choice. He shoved Celine behind a support brace. He fired once, precisely. The round struck a drone joint. The drone collapsed. The station screamed in protest. Pressure alarms blared. Bulkheads slammed shut automatically. Celine was on the wrong side. So was Kale. The door sealed between them. Thick, final. Celine pressed her hand to the viewport. Her eyes locked on Kale's. "Take her," Celine said. Her voice cracked. Kale did not answer. He couldn't. Security command flooded the chamber. Weapons raised, controlled. Holt's voice returned. Measured, satisfied. "Dr. Celine Park," Holt said. "You are now under authority protection." Celine did not resist. She only looked once more at the sealed door. On the other side, Mira cried out. Her voice faded with distance. Kale stood alone in the failing station. Blood seeped from his side. The drones powered down. The hunt shifted shape. Holt had forced the separation. And this time, the city had not broken. Pain arrived before clarity. Cale tasted iron and dust. He dragged himself along the wall, one arm useless. The station answered with warning chimes. Pressure stabilized, barely. Calder 9 refused to die quietly. Cale forced himself upright. Blood darkened his sleeve. He checked the corridor ahead. No movement, no mercy. Through the sealed door behind him, voices echoed. Security Command was reorganizing. Cale moved away from the door. Staying meant capture. He staggered into a maintenance spur. Lights flickered, then held. Minutes later, footsteps approached. Careful, professional. Cale raised his rifle with shaking hands. The weapon felt heavier now. A calm voice filled the corridor. Colonel Garrick Holt. Stand down, Holt said. You are injured. Cale laughed once, breathless. That was the idea. Holt's boots stopped just beyond sight. He did not rush. You've proven your point, Holt said. You've delayed us. Cale pressed against the wall. Delay was not victory. Where is the child? Cale said. His voice cracked. Holt answered without pause. Safe. The word cut deeper than a threat. Cale closed his eyes briefly. You separated her from instability, Holt continued. That was necessary. Cale steadied his breathing. You took her. Holt stepped into view. Armor clean, expression neutral. She was never yours, Holt said. She belongs to the city. Cale aimed his rifle. The barrel wavered. Holt did not flinch. He had calculated this distance. One shot, Holt said. And the station fails. Cale knew he was right. The walls whispered their limits. Holt gestured slightly. Security Command moved in silence. Cale fired anyway. Not at Holt. The round struck a conduit behind him. Steam burst outward. Cale dove aside as pressure alarms screamed. The corridor sealed in segments. Holt retreated smoothly. Prepared for this. Cale crawled into the steam. His vision blurred. Hands grabbed him. Strong, relentless. Cale fought, weakly. A shock baton ended it. He woke to restraint fields. The pain had spread. Holt stood nearby, watching data scroll. He looked satisfied, not cruel. Your actions forced my hand, Holt said. That is regrettable. Cale struggled against the field. It held. Where is she? Cale said. Holt met his gaze. In transit. To where? Cale demanded. Aegis Biomedical Vault, Holt said. The only secure environment left. Cale's chest tightened. Celine's voice echoed in memory. You'll kill her, Cale said. Holt shook his head once. No. You'll use her, Cale said. Yes, Holt replied. And save millions. Cale laughed again. It hurt. One child, Holt said evenly. Versus a city. He leaned closer. A species. Cale glared at him. She's not a resource. Holt's voice remained calm. Everything is a resource under scarcity. Cale pulled against the restraints. They did not yield. You taught us to survive, Holt said. Now you object to the cost. Cale spat blood. You're afraid. Holt considered that. Of collapse, he said. Of losing control, Cale said. Holt straightened. I am responsible. He turned to the officers. Prepare the vault. Cale felt the transport begin to move. Vibrations traveled through the frame. Stop, Cale said. Listen to her. Holt paused. For what? For consent, Cale said. For humanity. Holt faced him again. His eyes were tired. A single individual, Holt said, is not worth risking the city. The words settled like stone. They would be remembered. The restraints tightened slightly. A reminder. Hours later, Redhaven stabilized. Rations resumed under watch. Public feeds praised decisive leadership. Fear quieted into acceptance. Deep within the vault, lights warmed. Sterile, controlled. Mira lay beneath transparent shielding. Her breathing faltered. Technicians prepared instruments. No one met her eyes. Holt observed from behind glass. Data streams reflected across his face. Begin preliminary mapping, Holt said. Carefully. A technician hesitated. Dr. Park. Will advise, Holt said. Under supervision. Cale felt the engines slow. They were arriving. His vision tunneled. Anger kept him awake. Somewhere beyond steel and glass. A procedure was being planned. Not a cure. An extraction. Cale closed his eyes. Then opened them again. This was failure. Complete and undeniable. But the story was not finished. Not yet. The first thing Cale noticed was the quiet. Not calm, calculated. The holding bay where they kept him was clean and bright. Too bright for a prison. Hours later, the restraints loosened just enough. A courtesy, not mercy. Ivo Dane stepped through the door without ceremony. He carried no weapons, only a data slate. You're still breathing, Ivo said. That helps. Cale shifted carefully. Pain flared along his ribs. They took her, Cale said. His voice stayed flat. Yes, Ivo replied. And they moved fast. Ivo placed the slate on a metal table. It projected heat maps into the air. Redhaven appeared as layered color bands. Heat, pressure, traffic, waste flow. Holt sealed the obvious routes, Ivo said. He always does. Cale leaned forward despite the pain. His eyes tracked the data. Show me what he ignored, Cale said. Ivo zoomed the projection. Thin lines pulsed beneath the city. Thermal waste, Ivo said. Human habits leave patterns. Cale nodded slowly. He had lived by patterns once. They rotate shifts to avoid predictability, Ivo continued. But waste never lies. A red cluster flared near the core. Aegis Biomedical Vault. Cale's jaw tightened. That's where she is. Likely, Ivo said. But not forever. Cale looked up sharply. Explain. Holt plans forced trials, Ivo said. Soon. The word hung heavy. Soon meant hours, not days. Ivo swiped the display again. Security schedules appeared. Every system has slack, Ivo said. Even Holt's. Cale studied the rotation gaps. They were small, but real. This isn't a rescue, Cale said. It's disruption. Yes, Ivo replied. Enough to change outcomes. Cale exhaled slowly. No heroics, no certainty. A faint tone chirped from the slate. An encrypted channel opened. Celine Park's identifier flickered briefly. Weak signal, masked. Ivo stiffened. She shouldn't be able to transmit. She's smarter than they think, Cale said. Celine's voice emerged in fragments. Controlled, urgent. The Matrix cannot adapt under coercion, Celine said. Stress responses cascade. Ivo adjusted the signal. Data packets spilled into the projection. Graphs spiked violently. Predicted mortality climbed. If Holt forces replication, Celine said, he will kill her. Cale closed his eyes briefly. Anger stayed contained. And the copies, Celine added. They won't stabilize. They'll fail faster. The channel crackled. Her signal weakened. Holt believes control equals safety, Celine said. He's wrong. The channel went dark. Silence returned. Ivo looked at Cale. That's your leverage. Cale shook his head. Data doesn't stop men like Holt. No, Ivo agreed. But systems listen. Cale straightened as much as he could. Pain sharpened his focus. We don't argue ethics, Cale said. We argue outcomes. Ivo nodded slowly. Long-term instability. Population collapse, Cale added. Loss of trust. Secondary riots, Ivo said. Off-world sanctions. Cale met his eyes. Holt fears collapse more than truth. They stood in silence for a moment. The plan took shape between them. It won't be clean, Ivo said. It won't save everyone. Cale accepted that. He always had. This is just less bad, Kale said. For more people. Evo offered a thin smile. Welcome to my world. They moved the slate again. Mapping waste flows, guard fatigue, blind sensors. Outside the room, Redhaven breathed. Unaware, waiting. By dawn, shift rotations would overlap. A single window. Kale flexed his injured arm. It responded, barely. Get me clothes, Kale said. I'll handle the rest. Evo hesitated. You won't walk out. Kale looked at the projection of the vault. He saw Myra's face instead. I'm not planning to, Kale said. The lights dimmed slightly as power rerouted. Somewhere, Holt adjusted another variable. The plan was fragile. Incomplete. But for the first time since Calder 9, Kale felt the direction shift. Not toward victory. Toward consequence. And that would have to be enough. The air changed the moment they crossed into the outer ring of Aegis Biomedical Vault. It felt lighter, cleaner, wrong. Positive pressure pushed gently against Kale's suit seals. Every step whispered compliance. Walls gleamed without scratches. No dust, no grime, no history. Evo paused at the threshold. This place hates chaos, he said. Kale adjusted his breathing. Then let's not give it any. Biometric gates lined the corridor. Skin tone scanners, gate readers, pulse sensors. No alarms yet. That was the danger. Evo overlaid false signatures through the slate. Timing mattered more than accuracy. 30 seconds, Evo said. After that, it notices patterns. Kale moved. Slow, even, measured. The floor registered his weight and cadence. Green indicators pulsed once, then faded. They advanced deeper. The silence sharpened. Somewhere beyond the walls, machines worked on Mira. Kale did not think about that. He couldn't. A junction opened ahead. Glass panels revealed sterile chambers inside. Technicians moved with rehearsed precision. None looked up. Evo slowed. Security node ahead. Kale nodded. I'll take it. He stepped into the open deliberately. No weapon raised. A figure emerged from the side corridor. Armor marked with Redhaven Security Command. The visor lifted. A familiar face stared back. Kale, the man said. His voice was steady. Ren, Kale replied. Former squad leader, former friend. Ren's hand hovered near his weapon. Don't do this. Kale stopped 3 steps away. Move aside. Ren shook his head once. We keep order here. By hurting a child, Kale said. Ren's jaw tightened. By preventing collapse. They stood in the clean corridor. Breaths measured, choices heavy. You trained me, Kale said. You taught me to assess outcomes. Ren's eyes flicked toward the glass chambers. Then assess this. Kale leaned closer. They're wrong. Ren exhaled slowly. That's not our call. Kale moved first. Fast, controlled. He struck Ren's wrist before the weapon cleared. Metal clattered softly to the floor. Ren countered, driving Kale back. The positive pressure hissed. They fought without wide swings. Every impact calculated. Kale felt his injury scream. He ignored it. Ren clipped Kale's shoulder. Pain flared white. You're compromised, Ren said. You're emotional. Kale locked his arm and twisted. Not anymore. Ren stumbled. Kale hesitated. That pause cost him. Ren drove a knee into Kale's ribs. Both men froze as pressure alarms chirped. Low, warning level. No more, Ren said. This place can't take it. Kale nodded once. Agreed. He disengaged and stepped back. Hands open. Ren hesitated. Then stepped aside. 5 minutes, Ren said quietly. That's all I can lose. Kale met his eyes. That's enough. They passed. No further words. Evo joined him at the next junction. You left him conscious. He'll delay pursuit, Kale said. He always did. They reached the inner access ring. Security thickened here. Heart rate scanners flared. Evo injected counter noise. Hold steady, Evo whispered. Think boring thoughts. Kale almost smiled. Almost. A door irised open ahead. Warm light spilled out. Beyond it lay the core corridor. A straight line to the primary vault. Alarms ticked upward. Still silent, still watching. They moved faster now. Risk climbing with every step. A final biometric gate blocked the way. No workaround. Evo cursed softly. It wants a living match. Kale stepped forward. Then give it one. He placed his hand on the panel. Blood seeped beneath the sensor. The system paused. Analyzed. Green light. Access granted. Evo stared at him. That shouldn't have worked. It didn't recognize refusal, Kale said. Only presence. The door slid open. Cold air rushed out. Inside, the heart of Aegis waited. Clean, silent, controlled. Kale stepped through first. The alarms finally began to rise. Behind them, the vault sealed itself. No easy exit remained. Ahead, systems warmed. Protocols shifted. And somewhere within the layers of glass and data, Myra's life ticked forward, measured in margins. Holt was already waiting inside the vault core. He stood behind glass, hands folded. The alarms softened as Kale approached. A deliberate courtesy. Impressive, Holt said. You followed the margins. Kale stopped at the barrier. I followed the data. Holt smiled faintly. Data rarely agrees with sentiment. Behind Holt, systems glowed in layered blues. Life support, sterility, control. You came for the child, Holt said. As expected. She's not a variable, Kale replied. She's a person. Holt tilted his head slightly. That distinction collapses under pressure. Kale shifted his weight. Pain reminded him of time. You believe truth destabilizes, Kale said. So you ration it. I manage it, Holt replied. Stability requires filters. Filters rot, Kale said. They fail quietly. Holt stepped closer to the glass. Truth causes panic. It causes trust, Kale said. When handled early. Holt shook his head once. Populations don't want complexity. They learn, Kale said. Or they break later. Holt gestured toward the vault systems. These tools prevent collapse now. By borrowing disaster, Kale said. From the future. Holt studied him carefully. You're arguing projections. Yes, Kale said. And second-order effects. Riots, Kale continued. Sanctions, off-world isolation. Holt's eyes narrowed slightly. You think that scares me? It should, Kale said. It outlives command terms. Silence stretched between them. Machines filled the gaps. You would gamble millions, Holt said. For one life. Kale met his gaze. No. I would avoid a lie, Kale said. That compounds. Holt turned away briefly. Data cascaded across his display. The child's condition is unstable, Holt said. Time is short. Coercion shortens it, Kale said. You've seen Celine's data. Holt did not deny it. I've accounted for loss. That's your blind spot, Kale said. Loss propagates. Holt faced him again. Enough. He raised a hand. The tone of the alarms changed. Containment lights shifted to red. Bulkheads locked in sequence. Containment Directive 17, Holt said calmly. Now active. Kale felt the air thicken. Pressure increased subtly. You'll erase the vault, Kale said. With us inside. With everything inside, Holt replied. No loose ends. Kale glanced toward the inner chambers. Mira is still breathing. For now, Holt said. So is this facility. Kale stepped closer to the glass. Then you admit it. Holt paused. Admit what? That stability needs ignorance, Kale said. And fear. Holt's expression hardened. It needs order. The vault trembled faintly. Systems began shutdown cycles. A countdown appeared on Kale's display. Minutes, not hours. Once the purge completes, Holt said, no one will remember this place. Kale exhaled slowly. This is how trust dies. Holt looked tired then. Just for a moment. This is how cities survive, Holt said. By choosing. Kale nodded once. Then choose consequences. He turned away from the glass. Toward the inner corridor. Holt's voice followed him. You can't stop the clock. No, Kale said. But I can change what it counts. Behind him, the vault sealed tighter. Containment deepened. Ahead, systems rerouted power. Emergency protocols layered over life support. Somewhere beyond glass and code. A child waited. The countdown continued. Each second precise. The clock had started. Heat alarms screamed before Kale reached the vent mouth. The corridor shimmered, metal breathing like a living thing under stress. Kale tightened his grip and lifted Mira higher. Her breathing was shallow, each breath a small fight. Stay with me, he said. His voice stayed calm, trained, almost gentle. Steam rolled from the thermal spine, white and blinding. Pressure gauges flickered red, then amber, then red again. Celine ran beside him, tablet pressed to her chest. Her eyes never left Myra's neck pulse. We have minutes, Celine said. Not many. Kale nodded once and moved faster. Every step sent heat through his boots and into his bones. The passage narrowed, pipes crowding close. Hot condensate hissed across the floor like rain. Mira stirred and coughed weakly. Kale shifted her weight without slowing. It hurts, she whispered. Her voice barely cut through the noise. I know, Kale said. You're doing great. Behind them, the enclave groaned. Containment systems cycled again, louder this time. Celine glanced back. The purge sequence is advancing, she said. A distant thump echoed through the spine. Another section sealed itself forever. Kale pushed through a hatch and into darkness. Emergency lights flickered, painting everything in harsh blue. The air smelled burnt and thin. His lungs burned with every breath. Ivo's voice crackled in Kale's ear. You are clear for now. Static swallowed the channel, then returned. I am opening the waste bypass. That will expose you, Kale said. I know, Ivo replied. There is no other path. The floor vibrated as valves shifted. Heat rushed sideways, rerouted through forbidden conduits. The temperature dropped just enough. Kale broke into a run. Celine stumbled, then caught herself. She kept pace, jaw clenched tight. Her markers are falling, Celine said. She needs stabilization. Kale glanced down at Myra's face. Her skin looked gray under the lights. Can you do it here? He asked. Celine shook her head. Not without killing her. They reached a maintenance alcove. Old tools lay scattered, half melted. Kale set Mira down on an insulated panel. He knelt, blocking the heat with his body. Celine unpacked the nano-vector infusion rig. Her hands moved fast, precise, shaking only once. This is not treatment, she said. It is survival. Mira looked at Celine, eyes glassy. Will I wake up? Celine met her gaze. Yes, she said. She did not promise more. Hours seemed to compress into seconds. The rig hummed, soft and dangerous. Kale watched the corridor behind them. Every shadow looked like a drone. A warning tone cut through the air. Structural stress climbed again. Evo, Kale said. The channel answered with a whisper. I am still here. Another pause. I will not be for long. Kale closed his eyes briefly. Thank you. I chose this, Evo said. Remember that. The line went dead. The lights dimmed further. Red replaced blue, slower, heavier. Celine finished the infusion and pulled back. Myra's breathing steadied, barely. She is stable, Celine said. For now. Kale lifted Mira again. She weighed less than she should. They moved, slower now, careful. The passage ahead glowed with warning stripes. By the time they reached the exit hatch, the enclave was dying. Systems shut down one by one. Orderly, final. Kale sealed the hatch behind them. The sound felt like a door closing on a life. Outside, the service tunnel stretched into darkness. Cold air rushed in, sharp and clean. Myra's eyes opened slightly. She focused on Kale's face. "You did not leave me," she said. Kale swallowed. "No," he said. Behind them, Redhaven fell silent. Ahead, the tunnel curved toward an uncertain light. The chamber doors slid open with a tired groan. Kale stepped inside, heat still clinging to his armor. Colonel Garrick Holt stood alone at the command dais. Screens around him scrolled evacuation metrics and loss projections. He did not turn at first. He already knew who was there. "You made it," Holt said. His voice was steady, almost relieved. Kale raised his weapon. The targeting reticle settled over Holt's chest. For one long second, the room went silent. Only the low hum of failing systems remained. "You could end this," Holt said. "No hearings, no spin." Kale did not answer. His finger rested near the trigger. Not on it. Holt finally turned. His face looked older up close, worn thin by calculations. "Do you know how many lives I balanced today?" Holt asked. "Not guessed, counted." Kale said nothing. Myra's breathing echoed in his memory instead. "You think this is about cruelty?" Holt continued. "It never was." He gestured at the screens. Population curves, oxygen reserves, political stability models. Project Aegis Seed was containment, Holt said. Not hope. Kale's jaw tightened. And Mira? Holt met his gaze. A variable that broke the model. A pause followed. Then Holt spoke again, softer. "One child does not outweigh a city," he said. Kale lowered the weapon slightly. "Not enough to relax. That logic ends civilizations," Kale said. Slowly. Holt exhaled. "You think exposure will save her?" "I think lies will kill more," Kale replied. He reached to his wrist console. Holt's eyes narrowed. "Think carefully," Holt said. "The authority will burn you." "They already did," Kale said. He tapped the console once. Data streams began to upload. Project Aegis seed files unlocked in layers. Red quarantine protocols followed. Internal memos appeared next. Risk acceptance thresholds, political shields. Holt stepped forward. "Stop," he said. Kale did not. His voice stayed even. "You optimized away the future," Kale said. "Someone has to see that." Across the system, alerts triggered. Independent oversight nodes flagged the transmission. Mars Provisional Authority channels lit up. Too many eyes. Too fast. Holt froze. For the first time, uncertainty crossed his face. "You think truth governs systems," Holt said. "It governs narratives. And narratives collapse," Kale replied. "When data stays intact." Hours later, alarms shifted tone. This time, they signaled review, not purge. Security teams entered the chamber. They did not aim at Kale. They surrounded Holt instead. Orders had already changed. "This is not justice," Holt said quietly. "It is damage control." Kale nodded once. "That is enough." Holt allowed himself to be restrained. No struggle, no protest. As he passed Kale, he stopped. "You chose uncertainty," he said. Kale answered without looking at him. "So did you." The doors closed behind Holt. The room felt emptier than before. Kale lowered his weapon completely. His hands shook now. He keyed a private channel. "Celine." "I see it," she said. "All of it." Mira stirred somewhere far away. The system still watched her numbers. By dawn, political statements replaced threat warnings. Containment Directive 17 was suspended. Holt's name vanished from command rosters. Not erased, but archived. Kale stood alone as the city stabilized around him. No cheers followed. Only the quiet recalibration of power. The city did not celebrate. It recalibrated. Redhaven Enclave settled into a quieter rhythm. Power loads normalized. Oxygen flows stabilized. Mira lay in a small medical bay near Station Calder 9. The lights above her stayed dim by design. Dr. Celine Park adjusted the nanovector infusion rig with steady hands. No rush now. The matrix is holding, Celine said. Not fixing, holding. Kale stood near the doorway. He kept his distance. Myra's chest rose and fell. Each breath was measured, deliberate. She is not a cure, Celine continued. And she should never be treated like one. Kale nodded. I know. The epigenetic stabilization matrix glowed faintly on the monitor. Its readings were narrow, unforgiving. One wrong replication, Celine said. And the cascade collapses. Kale watched the numbers. No miracles, just margins. Hours later, Mira opened her eyes. Only for a moment. She looked at Kale. Recognition came slowly. Are we safe? She asked. Kale hesitated. Safer than before, he said. That was the truth he could offer. By morning, provisional councils issued revised directives. No sweeping reforms, no grand promises. Research protocols were rewritten. Access layered, oversight multiplied. Progress became something slower. And harder. Celine reviewed the documents with tired focus. This will take years, she said. Good, Kale replied. Years mean restraint. Evo Dane sent one last message through a narrow channel. The passage network would go dark for a while. Nodes burned, roots erased. The price of exposure. We will adapt, Evo said. We always do. Kale did not respond. He never did with goodbyes. 2 days later, Kale prepared to leave. No escort, no clearance badge. He wore civilian layers over scarred armor. Unremarkable by design. Celine met him near the airlock. You could stay, she said. I am better as a boundary, Kale answered. She understood that. They both did. Mira slept as Kale passed the bay one last time. Her hand rested on the blanket edge. She was alive. That was enough. As Kale stepped into the transit corridor, the city barely noticed. That was intentional. Far above Mars, data packets moved through silent relays. The Aegis seed files did not stop traveling. They reached analysts, observers, and quiet committees. Some frowned, some leaned forward. In one distant system, a signal was flagged for secondary review. Not hostile, not friendly. Just attentive. Kale boarded a freight shuttle bound for nowhere specific. The hatch sealed behind him. As the engines warmed, he closed his eyes. The work was not finished. It had simply begun moving again. The shuttle disappeared into the red distance, leaving no name behind. Only consequences. Redhaven would endure. Not because it was pure, but because it learned restraint. Myra's life did not save humanity overnight. It gave humanity something rarer. Time to choose carefully. And somewhere between law and survival, one man walked away without reward. Not as a hero. Not as a weapon. Just as someone who chose life, when destruction was easier. If this story stayed with you, if its questions linger longer than its answers, please take a moment to like the video. Share it with someone who enjoys thoughtful science fiction. And subscribe to the channel for more cinematic sci-fi stories that explore choice, consequence, and what it means to remain human in the future. Thank you for listening.